Well, we are back on Morning Line. It's our final segment with Doc Friday. It's good to have her with us this morning. We'll have you on again, certainly, at least one or two more times before April if you're willing to come. And I know it gets very busy for you already. It starts kicking in right about now for you or not
finally,
yet?
I mean, now that we have this,
people
but
getting their forms.
Probably February 15th, thereabouts, we'll start getting really busy.
It's funny. She gets buried. I know you work year-round on a lot of stuff, but your busy time, and you're getting geeked up for it right now, is basically middle of February through April 15th.
That is probably the busiest time for everyday ordinary. And then, of course, we have a lot of extensions. Probably 50% of my clients do extensions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And the extensions can go...
September to October, depending if it's the business or if it's an individual.
Real quick, with regard to extensions, if you choose, what would qualify you to go for an extension? And you do have to still pay an interest on that, right? Or is there a penalty associated with that?
Extensions do not extend money. So there's no reason not to pay your taxes. The only reason you're extending is because maybe you're an investor and you're waiting for K-1s from other people, or maybe you want to extend your contribution to your personal SEP because it will extend out till you have that information. So there are sometimes some good tax reasons, but do pay your taxes, because the penalty for not paying is 5%, 0.5% per a month. If you don't file the extension and you're late, it is 5% per month. 5%, that's a lot of bloody money.
Yeah, so extensions, is there any such thing as an extension where there's no penalty because of some very unforeseen circumstance?
Well,
does anything like that exist?
Sometimes the IRS will give you a waive if there's a reason, something traumatic happened. But to be honest, we've had people that have been going through cancer treatments, we've had people going through other things, and their theory of the IRS is somewhere in there you could have contacted someone, you could have done something, and everyone's entitled to one mistake, and the government usually will waive one time of you doing something, but after that, no matter what, they're less likely to be beneficial.
Straight by the book. All right, good advice. All right, let's go to Wilma. Hi, Wilma.
Hi.
Hey, how can we help you?
I wanted to ask if tuition and books are deductible and when you're going to college, and what form you use for that.
Wow, I should carry my form book. Tuition is, if you're an adult going, you probably have the lifetime credit, and it's going to follow onto the credits, educational credit form. And again, I may have to have you guys calling me. I didn't come prepared with form numbers. And nowadays, unfortunately, we rely on our computers way too much, so I don't walk around with all those. But you will be able to claim your tuition. You need to make sure from the college you get a form called the 1098T, as in Tom. It will give that information on it and what's allowed, because you might have gotten the Hope credit, or you might have gotten some sort of grant, and some of that will deduct what you're allowed for credits.
Okay. It's interesting with regard to that. My son is 17, or gosh, can you believe that? He's going to be, and he's going to start at UT next year. All right. Now, first of all, he's gotten a job working Wendy's. He's making Baconators, and now he's going to get a tax form, isn't he?
He is going to get a tax form.
He'll have to get that now. He didn't earn enough. It was more or less a part-time job as he jungles it with work and school and all that. But is there anything? We had gotten him an UTMA. I think that's what it's called, UTMA. There's a fund for.
Absolutely.
So when he starts at UT, I mean, he's going to be working. He's going to get some financial aid. Probably he'll get the UTMA. I mean, anything I need to think about tax-wise when you have a young person starting college? And at his age, do we continue to claim him? I guess we do.
Yes, because
he's
you're
not
still going to be giving. Most likely, you're still going to be giving him more than 50% of his support if you consider health insurance, auto insurance, possible auto payment, depending. But usually you have a lot of those different things. So we'll probably claim him depending on how large his W-2s are too. I mean, if the kid is making $12,000, $15,000, $18,000 a year on their own, the government's going to sit there and maybe say, maybe you're not providing more than 50% of their support, especially if he's at university on grant or on loans or something. I mean, so each person needs to evaluate, is the person truly a deduction? And next year it's going to be a little different. Again, educational credits did survive the new tax change in 2018, so we'll still be able to get some of those credits for them. And the nice thing about this, guys, is it went from $110,000 for individuals, and I thought that was way too low, up to families making $400,000. This is huge, because the normal family, I mean, a husband and wife each making $60,000 isn't so low. I mean, so they would kick it out. You weren't entitled to a lot of these. So make sure you check that out again for next year.
So hopefully then, with that, we would certainly qualify. Then, meaning tax credit, we'll get some credits for paying.
Up to $2,500 for paying for his schooling.
Helping with his schooling.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. He's not getting a full ride playing football. It's not happening. Now, he wouldn't mind making the E-team, the electronics video game team.
Okay.
But I don't think they give scholarships for that. Or
I don't know.
esports. It's esports is the big new thing.
I would think that, pretty soon we're just going to see the kids all dressed up and sitting in front of computer screens, and we're going to have electronic football game going. And these kids, these little nerdy guys, are going to actually be the big guy on the field.
Oh, you'll have the marching band out there alongside.
Exactly. I could see that
you
because
know what?
I can't.
You may be right. That may be.
That's going to be the future of football.
Oh,
just
you've
like
seen these stories
the military,
lately,
right? I mean, where everything's flown by drones now instead of the big bad pilots and all that. Now, so many of them are actually, don't have humans in them. Well, just picture our robotic football team out there.
It's coming. It's coming. Let's go to next up is Mary. Hi, Mary. Good morning, Mary. Are you there?
I am.
How can we help you, ma'am?
My question is, my husband received disability for the past 3.5 years in September of 2017, and we have the marketplace insurance. My question is going to be, are we going to have to pay back a lot of money because of this on our income tax because we have the marketplace insurance?
Well, I'm not sure if I totally understand. If he's receiving disability, is it Social Security disability?
Yes.
Okay. And he got a big distribution going back for 3 years. He finally got the money, or no?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You should, because on the disability, on the Social Security statement, it will show each year. You have an option. You can either go back and amend those years, or you could choose possibly this year to think about married filing separately, where his wouldn't be taxable because he's not required to file taxes on his own.
Okay.
So talk to your tax person, see if it applies in your situation, but you might want to consider a different approach this particular year because of him receiving that disability distribution.
Okay, thank you
No
so
problem.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Yeah, a lot of people sometimes, because when you finally get that benefit,
no.
it's retroactive to when you first applied, and it's
it
a
can
chunk.
be huge.
But that's usually not taxed
Well,
because
done the right way, it cannot be taxed, but sometimes people do it as they've always done, and then they have to report in up to 85% of it can be taxed, which could put people in a completely different tax bracket than they're used to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, just with regard to, we just have a little bit of time left. If we get another call or two, we can take it. But is there anything that you would give to the average individual out there watching right now, just to be aware of what the standard kind of mistakes? I've asked you these questions before. That some people make as they approach their tax deadline. What little things would you say? Oh, look, come on, you've got to be aware of this. Maybe common sense stuff.
Well, I think one thing was what this young lady called and said was, don't approach your taxes as you've done them every single year. Make sure that you maybe should be doing something slightly different. Do a little research, because sometimes things change. Every day, every year, our lives aren't always the same from the year before. So just take a minute before you just throw all the numbers in as you've done every single year, and make sure that really is the best approach for you. And then make sure you have all of your documentation. Biggest mistake, based on the IRS website, is people filing without reporting all of their income. Keep in mind, the government isn't ignorant, so if you drove for Uber, that isn't free money. If you've sold stock, there is potentially some taxable income. And don't forget, you're also missing an opportunity. If you're in a very low income bracket, the 10 and 12%, you could sell stock for a 0% tax. So are you missing opportunity to clean out, to change, because you're just sitting and letting everything go the same way? So maybe make 18 a new year to clean house. Make sure everything's proper.
I'm glad you mentioned it. I don't know how that works with Uber, but for instance, where there's people out there driving, they're getting paid.
Absolutely.
Do they keep track of the fares, or if an Uber driver picks you up, and I don't know how it works with Uber company, and then someone throws you a 20 because you took them downtown, and it's 20 cash, how does that get registered? Or is that something where it's going to be honor system, you report the income?
Exactly. I don't know if any of them have ever come to me and said they've received tips, unless the tip was reported through your Uber app. So just be careful, because the lifestyle report that the government runs on all of us when they do their taxes. So if you're showing you made $10,000, yet you're saying you're single and you don't have a dependent, or you're not a dependent of someone else, they may be sitting there saying, wait a second, according to standards, there's a $500 minimum for rent and food at minimal. You've got a car payment, which is on your credit report, which the IRS has access to. You've got a bank account with a dollar amount in, which the IRS has access to. common sense, people, you know, the government isn't stupid. If they decide to look at you, your lifestyle needs to justify your income.
And if you're making 10 grand with all that, they know you have other income that you're not reporting.
What's the likeliness of it? You
How
know?
do they have access to our bank accounts? Do they,
Social Security numbers on all of our bank accounts.
I guess it is, right?
And
so
if
they
you
don't need
owe
to have
the
the bank
government,
account
they
number.
can actually take a levy of your bank. Any money you have in the bank, they can sweep it.
Okay, yeah, because I forgot. Social Security number is attached to the bank accounts and everything, isn't it?
Purchase of your car, your insurance, we're not exactly incognito here.
Okay, all right. So the bottom line on this is
common sense.
Common sense.
You know,
if
you drive for Uber, make sure you report all of your money. I mean, most of you guys have a ton of mileage. You buy bottled water. You've got whatever. Make sure you just use the expenses entitled to you and come up to a logical number.
Okay, so good advice then on all this. I was just curious how that works, and people, whether they, still a lot of folks don't report unreported income.
That's why the government is trying to change. One of the big tax changes coming in 2018 is this 20% credit to small business owners. The reason they're pushing this, one way was because it's 20% or 50% of your salaries or wages paid. So keep in mind that small business owners do everybody as a subcontractor that they can, and they don't even put themselves on payroll because they're sole proprietorship or an LLC. All of those people are going to get zero credit unless they change the way they operate their business and start putting payroll on. Why does the IRS want everybody on payroll?
So they can monitor it.
And because everyone's paying their Social Security and Medicare, there's a match. As an employee, if I'm self-employed on a Schedule C, I only pay half of my Social Security. I get a credit, and then I pay the other half. So as a self-employed person, we only pay half of our Social Security and Medicare, where if someone like yourself, your boss is paying half and you pay half.
Right.
So the government gets twice as much from an employee as they do from a self-employed individual. So it's really important to understand this change that the government's making is a way of trying to eliminate subcontractors more and more, or try to get the people that really aren't subcontractors onto the books properly.
Isn't that interesting? I didn't realize they get double from me because I work for a company. I thought I would have to pay a little less and you'd have to pay more.
The boss, the company you work for, it's expensive to have employees.
Yes,
it costs me 10% minimum for every employee. So every dollar I pay, it costs me 10% or $1.10 to pay them.
Yeah.
And that's without benefits. I'm cheap. That's just the government.
Without benefits. Well, you do. How big is your office? How many people do you have?
There's only 6 of us.
That's right. And
we're small. We're small guys.
Yeah, you're kind of a boutique.
Yes, we're a boutique. I like that. I want to change my thing. I like that.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming on. What we'll do is when we come back too, I'll have her contact information up there for her as well. And some of these questions, and yeah, you're right. You don't have all the numbers of all the forms in your head, but she can get it for you. She always will. And listen, we'll have you come back on whenever, I know when you're busy, but you'll just let us know when you're available, all right? And we'll get it going on that because for a lot of people, it starts now.
Yeah, February will be much more exciting because everyone's going to have their forms and they're going to be wondering what they should be doing with them.
Right. Doc, thank you. It's a pleasure seeing you. We'll see you again sometime soon, all right?
I appreciate it.
We'll take a break when we come back. Programming note about tomorrow and her contact information right after this. Stay with us.